How the Dixiecrat Revolt marked the beginning of the two-party South and the end of the Solid South. Southern politics has always been described as volatile, dramatic, and oh so interesting. Cracker culture, unique agricultural landscape, religion, corrupt politicians, and racism are just a few characteristics of the South. However, racism is the most dominating aspect of the South. Racism and segregation have been prevalent subjects in Southern politics for its entire unique history. From the Civil War to the Ku Klux Klan to race riots, the South has been plagued by its bigotry for the past 3 centuries. The history of the 20th century South is dominated by the Civil Rights Movement and the South's opposition to integration and staunch support of the continuation of segregation. Until 1948 and the early 1960s, the South was known for its solid support of the Democratic Party. Between 1898 and 1948, the lowest Democratic share of U.S. House seats was 93%. Being an impoverished part of the country, many white Southerners supported the Democrats' programs that supported underprivileged Southerners. Many Southern politicians, such as Strom Thurmond, supported Roosevelt and his New Deal until it began to benefit blacks more than poor whites. Many Southerners were so racist and discriminatory they didn't want the same programs helping whites to help blacks. This ideological schism set up the divide between liberal and conservative Democrats. The dominance of the Democratic Party in the South would change dramatically at the Democratic National Convention of 1948. The debate at the convention was, of course, the party's platform on civil rights and the advancement of African Americans. President Truman advocated for legislation to protect blacks from segregation, but black belt Southerners felt very differently. After much debate, Hubert Humphrey delivered a powerful speech defending civil rights.
To those who say, my friends, to those who say that we are rushing this issue of civil rights, I say to them, we are 172 years late.
After a close vote, the Democrats adopted civil rights as part of their platform. Outraged, Southern Democrats left the convention in dramatic fashion and formed the States' Rights Democratic Party, more commonly known as the Dixiecrats. They would nominate Strom Thurmond, governor of South Carolina, as president, and Fielding Wright, governor of Mississippi, as vice president. They voiced the continuation of segregation and did not support any civil rights legislation, as demonstrated by a speech from Strom Thurmond.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, into our swimming pools, into our homes, and into our churches.
The Dixiecrats hoped to take enough electoral votes from Truman to force the election to be determined by the House of Representatives. They wanted the Democrats to beg them for their support, cave on the race issue, and remove civil rights from the agenda. Fortunately, the Dixiecrats failed, although they won 39 electoral votes. Truman won the majority needed and was elected president. Despite the loss, the Dixiecrat Revolt began the end of the Solid South and marked the onset of the road to the two-party South. In the presidential election since 1948, the South clearly was not a solid majority of Democrats any longer. The Republican rise in the South was gradual, but gained its momentum from the Dixiecrat Revolt. The white Southern resistance to black progression allowed Republicans to slowly but surely gain support in the South as Democrats became the party for blacks and Republicans the party for whites. The Dixiecrat Revolt was significant to the future of Southern politics because it was the first time Democrats were divided, which wavered the Solid South support. This divide culminated in the election of 1964 when Southerners voted for Republican Senator Barry Goldwater because he opposed the Civil Rights Act. Johnson lost all of the Deep South states. The Republican Party inadvertently became a party of segregationists because they focused on economic issues and either ignored or downplayed social issues. The Dixiecrat Revolt was also symbolic to Southerners because it showed that they did not have to remain loyal to the Democrats. Party allegiance could be broken. The Dixiecrat ideology changed the political culture of the South in the years to come. Since the revolt, the South has progressed from solidly Democratic to solidly Republican by the year 2000. Southern politics today, however, is changing more and more as the white majority begins to dwindle with the influx of African American and Hispanic voters. The Republican Party will need to adjust its platform to the new electorate or perhaps face a modern Dixiecrat revolt unless they appease the dwindling majority and rising minority.
Cue the victory music.